This is Heart to Heart with Sibongile Mofokeng on Radio Pulpit. Heart to Heart.
That's where you at.
Radio Buzzing of Life, 657 AM.
That's where you at. You're on Heart to Heart with me, Sibongile Mofokeng, with you up until 3 o'clock to 3 uur. I'm excited. It's a Friday. And the music says it, eh? The music tells you it is a Friday. But I love the lyrics on that song. And it comes there from Celebrate Africa. Sunrise is the title of the song. And I love the fact that they say, we're gonna win this fight. So we are going to win this fight against teenage suicide. But before I greet my guest, before I greet Johan, I see you, Metzelapedi. Let me just hear what you gotta say to us.
Hi, Mama Sibongile. Oh, yo, yazini into isho lapho ingibusisa ngempela umusa nothando lukaNkulunkulu empilweni zethu. Mawuqala iviki yazibuza ngizokwazi na. Yo, bengizibuza umbuzo Mama Sibongile. Inyanga iphelile ithe ithi i-1 ngabe ngisenamali ngisalelwe 400 rand ebank. Yo, Mama Sibongile, emuhle uNkulunkulu. Ngathi nje mangingathola nje itikiti lesitimela. Yo, ngibe ngiqedile ngasho ngathi uNkulunkulu kuyoyibonela. Ngempela nakho kufikile Friday. It was not easy, but the grace and the love and the peace uNkulunkulu asinikeza yona. Hey, sifikile nayo Friday. I-weekend uyoyibonela nayo futhi. Hey, Mama Sibongile, besinemingcwabo. Ifamily kababa A4.
I'm sorry about that.
Last month. Hey, and financially ke sonke kufanele sicontribute. Hey. Isihlamo esasithatha as a family ukuthi makushona le khishwa ama-500 rand.
Yo.
Hayi kwazwakala 2000 rand abantu abayi-4 ngenyanga eyi-1. But the grace and the love and the peace of God asinikeza yona. Oh, siyabonga. The blood of Jesus is covered daily. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Caroline Tselapedi.
Yeah. Metzelapedi, I knew it was you. Thank you so much for sharing. She says when she started the week, she wasn't quite sure if she was going to make it through. But God was so faithful to even provide. It's now the end of the week, and she continues to say, God sal voorsien, because last month they had to bury 4 of their relatives, and it was taxing. It took a lot out of her. But yeah, we thank God that she has made it through. May the Lord see you through even during the weekend. May you see just the hand of God being with you through and through. Now I'm going to welcome my guest, and he's ready. He's on. I see you smiling. How are you, Johan?
Well, it's Friday.
Yeah, I see. You just want to sing. You just want to dance and sing because it's a Friday. Thank you so much for taking this moment and talking to us this afternoon.
You're most welcome.
But we're talking about a very serious topic today with you. And I was saying to the family members of Radio Pulpit, I think now it's worse than ever. I remember in the previous years, we would experience children wanting to take their lives, or teenagers desiring to take their lives, feeling like taking their lives or whatever. Let me put it that way. During exam time and, with the pressures that came. But now with the social medias that are there, with the cyberbullying that is there and everything, I'm wondering how big the problem is. So what are we faced with? How big is the problem, Johan?
The stats that I'm providing are from credible sources like the South African Depression and Anxiety Group in Johannesburg. 9% of deaths amongst teenagers is due to suicide. And SADAG says between April and December of last year, and I'm going to take a look at my notes, 700, sorry, I sound like some of the ex-presidents now, 7,426 teenagers
Yeah.
between the age of 14 and 19. They were treated for attempting suicide.
Mm.
So, Sibongile, it's really horrific if we think that in that age group, well, young children and teens, they are supposed to be in the, just to enjoy life.
Mm.
But due to various factors, as you've mentioned, the social media, the cyberbullying, socio-economic factors, abuse, alcoholism, addiction, those are all contributing to, I don't want to do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore.
Mm.
So there is a lot of work, not only for when it comes to youngsters, but also their family members, their support groups, their teachers.
Mm.
The teachers are also suffering big time from not only depression, anxiety, but also from burnout. And they have to carry academic work, but also the emotional
Mm.
healthiness of our especially high school kids. So but it is a battle that can be won. I
Sure.
have two hashtags which I use every single day, and that is hashtag there's always hope in God and
Mm.
hashtag there is always help. But then I need to speak up. I have to get the confidence, pluck up the courage to identify a go to person and somebody who I can trust. It's not necessarily a family member. It might be a teacher. It might be a sports coach. It might be a pastor. It might be
Sure.
my friend's mother or father, even. Um, but we have to speak up. And therefore, I am so grateful for the opportunity this afternoon, which was organized by the organizers of the You Matter Walk. Please tell me you will be at the big red barn on Thursday,
I have to be. I
Saturday. Sorry,
I
you
have to
have to,
be. Mm.
so I can meet you in person. So it's Saturday, the 13th of September from 7 to 12. So
Mm.
that is an awareness day organized by the
You
wonderful
made a
lady.
walk.
And it started off because they lost their husbands by suicide.
Yeah. Sure. Johan, somebody might ask a question because one person might say, we've also gone through some hardships, socio-economic things were not right around us. We were surrounded by this and that. There were struggles during our times. What's different about the brains of those individuals who die by suicide compared to I'm just wondering, is there some imbalances? What's happening right there with the brains?
Yes, the experts will call it neurochemical imbalances,
Mm.
especially serotonin deficits. And
Mm.
then there are structural or functional changes, impaired decision making, and problem solving abilities. Um, Professor Lizette Raber, she is an activist for um, depression, for mental health in the Western Cape. And she sums it up by saying that when a person gets to making up his or her plan finally about suicide, the
Yeah.
brain is very sick that it can't think rational
Okay.
any longer. So it's all about I get to the point where I decide this is what I'm going to do, where I'm going to do it, and how I'm going to do it. And then once they have made up their minds, it is almost a relief that, okay, now it's the beginning of the end. But the brain cannot steer you away unless you ask for support.
Oh, because one would ask a question, why is it like it's getting worse than it was before? It would be once in a lifetime, but now it seems like it's escalating.
I think it's due to lifestyle in South Africa, well, worldwide. You know, Sibongile, the World Health Organization, their stats say that worldwide, every 40 seconds,
Mm,
somebody dies by suicide.
mm,
Um, so it's about socio-economic factors. It's about the stress that we experience in life, financial constraints, um, um, divorce. I don't have a job. I have lost a loved one. Even something insignificant, people will say that I've lost my dog, but
yeah,
he was my true friend.
yeah.
So all these, I try to explain it to myself to understand it first, is that in reaction to that, one
Mm,
starts to experience the classical symptoms of depression, like
mm,
the change of eating and sleeping patterns. I'm indecisive. I feel hopeless. I might be suicidal. I can't. I just want to be on my own. So it's
mm,
self isolation. And
mm,
once we have dealt with or got support from anybody around us, and we have dealt with that trauma,
mm,
the symptoms sort of dissipate, and then we can manage the situation much better. And that
mm,
is which I would like to call a reactive depression.
mm.
Whereas when it's a major and clinical depression, it is due to the factors which I've mentioned earlier.
So, Johan, it means that when somebody's thinking about suicide, especially towards that end, there's nothing else that consumes them except for the fact that they have to go. Everything shuts down except for that thought.
And that is when, many times people say, but why didn't we see it? Why
Yeah,
didn't we see it coming?
yeah,
Now, remember that people in that space of their lives, even just people who are suicidal, we are, and I can say I've never made an attempt or was suicidal, but I'm fighting depression every single day. Um, and we are fighting this, all these emotions,
yeah.
and we manipulate people.
Mm,
So even if there's just as the slightest hint, like people refer to, oh, it will be much better if I wasn't here.
yeah,
Maybe this
yeah,
was
yeah.
my last birthday sharing with you. Then we need to read between the lines what isn't said.
Mm,
Now, the myth is that one shouldn't confront people with regards to suicide,
mm,
because that might just give them the idea and push them over the cliff and say, okay, I'm going to do that. But when people make these statements, um, then it's maybe an outcry for help. And I was taught that when there is, when you have this discussion with an individual,
yeah,
ask them, have you made plans? If so, when do you decide on doing it? And how are
yeah,
you going to?
yeah,
Uh, don't shy away. I know it is extremely difficult to ask these questions,
yeah.
but in asking those questions, you can save a life.
Sure.
If somebody opens up and accepts you as his or her confidant, and they start off with, I want to share something with you, but please don't spread the word. Let's make it our secret.
Mhm.
Don't make it a secret, because you can rather lose a friend than losing that person's life. Speak up, talk about it, because that's the only way we can fight this battle against not only teenage suicide, but suicide in general in South Africa, where it is a reality.
Johan, can we really call it manipulation or is it a cry for help?
Well, it can be both. If the people who are successful will be very cautious in in giving the information beforehand. So
Yeah.
how did we not see it coming? Um, it's very subtle things, like I just go around my circle of friends, have a cup of coffee, have a chat, and then say my goodbyes, and
Mm.
you are off. And the friends don't realize that this was actually the final goodbye. But things to be on the lookout for is something like, if you know that the person was very depressed, very anxious for the last couple of weeks, and all of a sudden they are friendly and they're chirpy. That is one of the signs that we can say there's a snake in the grass, because I've made up my mind, because of that decision that I've made, and I'm going to see it through. It's like the world has rolled off their shoulders.
Sure.
The other thing is they would start giving away some of
Their
their
prized possessions. Yes.
yes. Like I have this brand T-shirt, and it was my best T-shirt, and I say, Sibongile, I want you to have this. That's another sign. So manipulation is by saying these. As I've mentioned earlier, this is my last birthday with you guys.
Mm.
Are they looking for attention? Maybe, but looking for attention because I actually am asking for help. And even if it is looking or wanting attention, do not ignore that, because that might be the start of the process where the person can get to suicide eventually.
There's a thin line also between a suicidal mind and a troubled mind. I remember somebody very close that we used to be with. Let me not say where, but this person kept on saying, "This is my last birthday," and he kept on referring to him having a brain tumor, of which there were no signs till today. There are no signs of that. But he kept on saying there's a brain tumor. So how would you then differentiate between somebody who is genuinely sick? Probably he did have a brain tumor, but there were no signs up until today, or maybe they suspected that he might have, and he concluded that he's dying. So how do you differentiate, this is my last birthday, of a suicidal person and somebody who's sick of something and who's saying, guys, I'm sick?
Well, if there's a history of depression that he suffers from depression,
Yeah.
or maybe it was uh, in the there's a history in the family of depression,
Mm.
then then one can start there. I usually tell my clients that um, if you experience some of these depression symptoms, I would say go to your GP, have a thorough checkup, and then the GPs usually will ask specific questions to determine whether we are dealing with a major depression.
Okay.
If it is like this person who said that I've got a brain tumor, and well, then ask for, when did you get the results? How were you tested?
Mm.
Try and understand that they did go through the various tests, etc.
Mm.
But Gile, I think it's rather difficult, as far as I'm concerned, to say that no, you're lying. You don't have a brain tumor, because I can't prove it unless I'm asking for test results and say, okay, here it states that you have
Mm.
something. Which one can ask is, so when do you start with chemotherapy or
Okay.
radiation?
Yeah.
What is the treatment plan?
Yeah.
Um, and then check the facts and maybe ask them in 2 or 3 days' time again and see whether the facts correlate. I don't know. It's just a long shot in the dark. It's very difficult to differentiate.
And maybe you can come up with something and actually see that, no, this is a suicide call.
Yeah.
than a person who's sick. All righty then. Simone Theodore, hello to you. Thank you so much for tuning in via our Facebook space. She's agreeing with what you are saying right there, Johan. Johan, before I even go to what is driving the crisis, I would like to know, in terms of our teenagers, what would the telltales be like? Would they also be giving their pricely possessions and also having those same words, maybe this is my last birthday? And what else can we be on the lookout for when we are looking at teenagers who are suicidal?
First of all, I would say be on the lookout for the various symptoms of depression. And the one that jumps to mind immediately is the self isolation.
Oh.
Kids they will stop doing sport or cultural activities, things that they loved previously. They will just make up an excuse of, no, I'm not interested anymore. A change in eat and sleeping patterns. They just want to sleep 24/7, or they can't sleep at all. Um, I don't want to be with my friends. I'm not in social media anymore. So there's an self isolation, because when I am going through an episode of depression, Sibongile, I'm always, no, I'm okay, I'm fine, because I want you off my back. I don't want you to get too close. So when a teenager would say, no, I'm okay, and you see they are hiding behind the mask, that might be a sign. But parents, I always suggest that when you listen to your child or to a sibling, listen to what is not being said. And a silly example that I can use is when my child gets home this afternoon, get into the car, I can ask, so how was your day at school? No, it was great. It was fine. I had lots of fun. So what did you do during break? So I'm asking specific questions where the other person cannot say yes or no, open-ended questions.
Yeah.
So I would say, so what did you do during break? Oh no, I had my lunch at the library, and I waited for the bell to ring again. So what the child is actually saying, I was on my own, I wasn't amongst my friends, and then there is the connection point. And then I
Yeah.
can start specific questions in getting the information as to why were you alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, indecisiveness. They can't make up their minds. A drop in academic performance, as in there's a sudden drop. Negative behavior at school. So when teachers pick this up, they are very emotional, and that is not only crying; it's also become very irritated, frustrated, etc. And it's quite different to the behavior of that individual that we are used to. Uh, and maybe there's a signs of bullying where this individual is the bully.
Yeah.
And most of the times, I taught many years ago, and I can still remember very clearly that when observe a child in your classroom and they are very disruptive, then we jump immediately to punishment, to
Yeah.
detention, etc., etc. And I fully understand that classes are very full, teachers are overworked, etc., etc. But one has to try and get behind the whole story. Why the specific behavior or change in behavior? And
Sure.
hopefully the child will pluck up the courage and trust the teacher or the pastor, whoever else, to open up and say, I'm actually struggling. And you know what? If you are listening to our conversation this afternoon, it is nothing to be ashamed of. It's when you speak up, it's not that you are a weak, there's a weakness in your whole being. Being suicidal, being a depression fighter, suffering from anxiety, does not define you as a
It's
person.
weak. And doesn't
You
develop
have
you.
the thumbprint that our Creator has given to you only.
What are the
And he,
myths that are, yeah, Johan?
no, 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 you go ahead, please.
I was like, what are the myths that are surrounding teenage suicide?
Um, well, once again, I'm seeking for attention. You're not serious, but it's real. It's not a myth. It's a fact that our teenagers are struggling more and more.
Mm,
So if we say, "Ach, it's a myth," it's not reality.
mm,
Um, I'm asking, do you know the youngest student that committed suicide and was successful?
hmm.
6
How
years
old?
old, 6 in Limpopo. The
Mm,
little boy, at the age of 6, went
mm,
to the bathroom and he hung himself with his school belt.
mm,
So when will we wake up? And parents. I can't generalize, but many parents live their dreams through their children. And the children are pressurized to perform, to get provincial colors, to be in the top 10 of their grade, to have so many A's, etc., etc., etc.
mm,
And they are the youngsters that can achieve that. But I cannot cope because everybody wants me to excel where they are, where I am involved.
mm,
So that academic pressure, et cetera, it adds to the burden that I'm carrying. Add to that the social media. Add to that the bullying. Add to that emotional
mm,
abuse at home. And people who say, um, "No, what is depression? There's no such thing like depression. In many
mm.
cultures, it doesn't exist. It's
Sure.
go to bed and wake up tomorrow morning and you will feel better again. That is
Mm,
one of the strongest myths that we have
mm,
with
mm.
regards to the topic we're discussing this afternoon.
Sure. And others don't even believe that children can be depressed. And they do. And they do go through depression. But what are the early sciences that we can look out for as parents, as guardians, as teachers, aunts,
Um,
uncles?
yeah. Sibongile, before we get to the signs of depression or severe anxiety, uh, when last have you had a decent conversation with your child? When last have you had a meal at a table without screens with your child? I firmly believe that if we make time, and I fully understand, people are away from home for hours and hours to commute, etc., etc. But sometime in that day, it's even if it's just for 5 minutes, just push everything aside and look your child in the eyes and talk to them about stuff that matter.
Mm,
Then when I experience that you are, well, for instance, I experience um, for the last couple of days that you are much quieter than you used to be.
mm.
What is the reason for that? So once again, I need to ask open-ended questions
Okay.
and not asking, "Are you sad? Are you unhappy?" But
Mm,
why is it that you are a bit quieter? So that
mm,
I get once again to the reason, the trigger for
mm,
children on mute, self isolation, etc. And then the most prominent symptoms I would list, which is the most obvious, a change in eating and sleeping patterns. I usually eat, but when I get home, my lunchbox, it
It's
wasn't
still
touched.
full. Yeah.
My kid wants to sleep 24/7. And I'm not talking when teenagers start their journey through puberty and they just want to sleep and rest and what drop in academic achievements.
Mm.
And it's not only the achievers, the 80s and 19 percenters. It's just the general achievers at school. Their academic results will also
Mm.
um, will drop. Then I'm indecisive. I can't make up my mind.
Mm.
Um, and then also the self isolation, as mentioned earlier.
Sure. What about those who suddenly are acing their studies, suddenly from nowhere, and they don't want to talk, they lock themselves up, they are not with their friends anymore, they've cut out on sports, but now they are acing? Because sometimes we parents think, oh, good shot, he's now concentrating on his studies, only to find that that child might be going through depression of some sort. Would that also be a sign?
I cannot say yes or no. Um, maybe, well, it can be that the individual has decided I'm going to focus on this because
Okay.
then there's something at least that can impress
Or
people with.
shifting their focus.
Shifting their focus.
Okay.
So I don't have the energy, the courage, the whatever it may be to be amongst people. But when I'm on my own, I'm still motivated to focus and work on my academics. And maybe it's something that I want to prove to myself. Although I feel that I don't want to live anymore, although I feel I don't mean anything. I'm not good enough for people around me. And those assumptions. I will focus on my academic work, and I can prove, firstly, to myself, but also to the people around me, that I still have what it takes. I must admit, Sibongile, I haven't experienced that before, but it's anything is possible.
Yeah. So watch out for any changes around your child.
Any changes, even if it's just a slight change, and you think, no, 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 that's not true. Pay attention,
Wow.
because every little sign could be a sign of all is not well with that individual.
So, what is the impact that suicide has beyond that teenager who takes their life?
It's everybody that is involved with that kid. Obviously, we start with the close friends, the nearest to them, because they are the first ones who ask, "But why didn't we see it?"
Yeah.
I spoke to him this morning, and I didn't. He was just himself. Then, obviously, the rest of the school staff that taught that individual. It goes over to the family, and eventually it impacts the whole community where that child lived his or her life. Often one sees on social media that people are mourning a specific learner from a school who committed suicide,
Yeah.
and then it's too late.
Ish.
So, what does one do if kids don't open up? The schools, churches, communities, NGOs, businesses, any organization, we don't have a choice anymore. We have to get involved. And listeners, if this is the only thing that I leave with you and you remember for the next week or five, is that what can I do to become part of this fight? I mentioned You Matter Walk, Saturday the 13th, the big red barn. Join those people walking there. It's remembering your loved ones or anybody in your community who died by suicide. It's showing support for me as a depression fighter. It is extending a hand to those who suffer, extending a hand to family members who
That were
lost a loved one.
affected. Yes.
It's a couple of hours. Join hands, speak up, join the organizers, and find out what is it that I can do. What you can do is by starting to get information about the illness. And you can, may I say what my website address is?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
My business name is Reboot Your Resilience. So it's
Okay.
the three W's, reboot your resilience. And there I have information, the basic information with regards to the illness called depression or then anxiety. And if any of the listeners would like to contact me on the far right side of the website, just use the drop down there and you'll find my contact details there. And I would love talking or just listen to your story. If you are a supporter, what can I do? What can a youngster do with a friend in his or her grade that needs support? They are actually saying, I'm struggling. Don't try to fix their challenges. My father is an alcoholic, and because of that, there's abuse and there is rape and whatever else. And therefore, because of that, I start to experience the symptoms of depression, and I can't cope. I cannot change the alcoholism, the abuse, etc., at his or her place. But what I can do is I can just listen.
Yeah.
I can say, my friend, let's sit and share your story. And if you need support, you only disclose what you are comfortable with. You
Yeah.
don't have to rip open your heart and say, but I was raped by my uncle 2 nights ago. And then don't try to fix, don't try to give solutions because we're not professional therapists. The last thing with regard to your question is that if a friend or an acquaintance even say, but I'm thinking about committing suicide, or I read on an article on the internet on what one has to do when you want to hang yourself. Report it immediately. I always say, if I don't report it, how will I feel when I get to school in 2 days' time and I hear Johnny died by suicide?
Yeah.
Then I am part and parcel of that act because I
Yeah.
didn't disclose that information. So, yes, whether you are suffering, whether you are the supporter, please speak up.
Sure. Johan, our time flies like I don't know what. I'm reminded that at some point in my life, I also wanted to take my life. And I spoke up. I wasn't trying to speak up. I was speaking my pain right
Yeah.
here at Radio Pulpit. And I spoke to a group of ladies and I told them my pain and the hurt that was there. And I remember them speaking up. And I remember them calling my family even. And I remember them following it up and helping me to get counseling because I couldn't deal with what was happening, the situation that was happening around me. I'm alive today and I'm grateful for those ladies
Yeah.
for speaking up. I'm alive because
How
they
much time
spoke
do we
up.
have still? A couple of seconds.
We are left with a couple of minutes, actually, I think about 2 minutes. But
Oh, wonderful.
I wanted you to cover this part. Most of our communities are not do not understand mental illness. So you're talking about depression. It becomes a laughing stock in the house. And, oh, she's depressed and everything. No, she can't wash the dishes because she's depressed. It's not taken as serious as it is, even with suicide. How do we then deal with the stigma and cultural barriers?
I would say have empathy. And when I have
Mm,
empathy, I try to stand in the shoes of the person. And then I would like to compare it with an illness that all of us are aware of. If that individual is fighting cancer, my question
mm,
usually is, have you ever seen a person stage 4 cancer on his or her deathbed?
sure.
It's a bag of bones. They
Mm,
are suffering. They are in pain. They don't have hair any longer. They can't stomach chemotherapy. They can't eat. They can't, well, don't have energy to brush their teeth. Then I say, then you know how I feel when I am really depressed.
sure.
Then you know how I feel, well, people feel when they are suicidal.
Mm,
I had the privilege of presenting a 3-day program at the rehab center in Bloemfontein
mhm,
Monday to Wednesday. And the one guy said he fell back on substance abuse
mm,
because he just couldn't stand life anymore.
mm,
At the age of 12, his mother introduced him to drugs. At the
mm,
age of 14, he was a dealer on the school grounds for his brother.
mm,
He was expelled from school many a times. He was in and out jail. He lived on the streets. He tried to commit suicide twice. And at
mm.
the age of 45, somebody said to him, try the rehab in Bloemfontein, the Kairos Restoration
Mm,
Center.
mm,
Amazing work that they do from a Christian point of view. Amazing work. And that guy, he stood there, not shy at all. He said, if it wasn't for God,
yeah.
if it wasn't for God and the
Mm,
people around him, then he would not have celebrated his 45th birthday. So Sibongile, as a depression fighter, I have to use medication every day due to the chemical imbalance. I have to go to my therapist from time to time, and I am currently in a stretch where I see my therapist weekly. And I'm very
mm,
privileged um, that I have a medical aid that pays for that. But most importantly, the past couple of years, is that I depend more than therapy, more than my medication, that I have the support of my community, my faith community.
mhm.
And I always say, if you don't know what to do for the people around you, pray.
Yeah.
If you don't know what to pray for,
Mm,
ask for an intervention by the Spirit to break down the stigma, so that people can understand, so that people can really understand how we suffer if we have some or other sort of form of mental illness,
sure.
um, because it's tough.
Yeah.
But as we said when we started off, there's always hope. There's always help.
Mhm,
Speak up.
mhm.
Even if you pray and you feel God forsaken, Jesus knows exactly how you feel. God, my Father, why have you forsaken me?
Yeah.
So he
He was
understands.
depressed. He was depressed.
Yeah,
He was going through depression at that moment as
yeah,
the Lord Jesus Christ himself.
yeah.
So he has walked this journey before us. He knows how to carry us as well. Sure.
So when it comes to various cultures,
Yeah.
and it's a whatever, I would urge people to go on, well, visit my website, or then the internet has a wealth of information.
Hmm.
Educate yourself. Understand that it is reality.
Yeah.
Understand that alcohol, pornography, um, adultery, those things, addiction, it does not help you with depression. That's just something I try to fill the void in my life
Just
with.
numbs the pain.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
if I don't have access to mental health, professional therapists. Reach out and find help at a clinic. Go to your spiritual leader. Go talk to a teacher. Go talk to a coach. Go talk to anybody, adult in your life, who you know I can trust this person.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
please speak up.
Wow. Johan, thank you so much for talking to us. Now I gave you a new name.
Leon, I don't care.
Johan, thank you so much for talking to us. And to remind the family, the You Matter Walk, a suicide awareness and prevention initiative, is taking place on the 13th of September 2025 from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Red Big Barn, Olifantsfontein. Registration information is available at the youmatterwalk.co.za. And if we'd like to talk to you again, Johan, what is your website as well, where we can just log in and get help from your site as well?
www.rebootyourresilience.co.za. And just a final word from me, Sibongile, SADAG, SADAG.
Yes.
Go visit their website. There are many toll-free numbers where you speak to well-trained counselors, and or there's a WhatsApp line where you can just text if you don't have the capacity to speak to somebody else, but just
Wow.
get that ball rolling.
Johan, thank you so much for sharing, even sharing from your personal experience, from being that vulnerable. Thank you so, so much. People never share their own journeys. And I understand that if you share your journey and your testimonies, then another person is able to say, if God has done it for him, so he's able to do it for me too, and become strengthened because of your journey. So thank you so much for sharing. May God awesomely bless you. I hope to talking to you again soon.
No, you just send the invitation and I'm here.
Thank you, Johan.
Keep well. Stay blessed.
Oh my. And yes, my family, that is Johan Laten. And do remember that if you'd like to talk to him, he is available on www.rebootyourresilience.co.za. Let's do something about it. Help is out there. Hope is out there. Do not give in. Do not give up. Do not take it. Not yet. Don't take your life. Not yet. Not yet. It's not yet time to do so. There's help out there, resources out there, counselors out there, an ear that is waiting to hear your concerns and to take good care of you as well. Walk a journey with you. Rebootyourresilience.co.za, and that is Johan. SADC 0800 567 567. And you get yourself help, get your teenager help. Do not give up. We are winning this round.
Plug in, feel the pulse on Heart to Heart with Sibongile Mofokeng on Radio Pulpit.
South